When state and federal governments try to encroach on people's gun rights, there are a few different avenues people can take. Some states and counties put out Second Amendment preservation bills or declare themselves Second Amendment sanctuaries. One official in New York is going a different and, honestly, unexpected route, and is trying to deputize all the gun owners in his county. He hasn't said that it has anything to do with gun rights, and maybe it doesn't, but there's a lot happening in between the lines. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Deputizing people to try and protect their rights is not a thing anyone should have to do, as the entire point of the Second Amendment is to protect against government tyranny, but here we are. It's also not the first time a sheriff or county official has floated the idea, but it's an interesting one, as this time it's happening in New York. Long Island, specifically. But before I get to the details on this one, today's video is brought to you by Blackout Coffee Company. Blackout is a Florida-based roaster that keeps you awake, not woke, and always supports your Second Amendment rights. They support veterans, soldiers overseas, some of your favorite gun rights groups like GOA, and channels like mine. So to support them and support the channel, go to blackoutcoffee.com/libertydoll. Nassau County, which is on Long Island, has been in the news on this channel before for the public range of the bad reviews that was either hacked by a troll or truly hates gun owners. You can find that fun one here. This time around, the news is that the sheriff and county executive, who is spearheading the effort, put out an ad in Newsday calling on all licensed gun owners to apply with the sheriff's department to become deputized. The officials claim that they would be provisional deputies that would only be called in during emergencies and would be there to help protect infrastructure. And maybe that really is all there is to the intended purpose, but I have some thoughts and questions. County Executive Bruce Blakeman, who is the only one saying anything to the news about this, says that he's trying to plan for an emergency and, at least according to local news, is, quote, looking to build an army or reinforcements of sheriff's deputies that can only work during states of emergency. I didn't want to wait until an emergency to try and scramble and find people. You have to vet them, you have to train them, he said. If there's a Superstorm Sandy event or an act of terrorism, we would use our special deputies to protect infrastructure. The ad says the deputy sheriffs would be activated to protect human life and property. The cutoff to apply was April 1st, though it's not an April Fool's joke, and there was a list of qualifications. Applicants have to be 21 to 72 years of age, U.S. citizens, possess a pistol license, must be a resident, property owner, or business owner in Nassau County, consent to full background investigation including mental health history, no alcohol or drug issues in the previous 5 years from date of application, and consent to random drug testing. So it's not like they're deputizing people all willy-nilly, as critics would suggest. Now, Blakeman, a Republican, didn't seek legislative or police approval to do this, but according to NBC, he doesn't need to. The police and sheriff's department have refused to comment, but there was a long line of people showing up at the police department to apply for new pistol permits once the ad ran, and over 80 people applied to be deputized. It might not seem like a lot, but to my understanding, the ad ran right before Easter weekend. Now, I could be reading too much into this, but I have some thoughts. There have been sheriffs that have spoken of deputizing citizens to protect their gun rights, and New York is notorious for not having gun rights. There's also been talk at the state and federal level of using emergencies to restrict gun rights, and we did see it during Hurricane Katrina and during COVID. Could this be the real motivation, or at least part of it? Critics and supporters alike have drawn the comparisons to a militia. Critics point out that Blakeman already has access to the New York State Police, local police, county police, and the National Guard in case of an emergency, so they're questioning why he feels this new band of civilian deputies is necessary. We can't say for sure because, again, no one is really giving any comment. Well, that's not entirely true. Blakeman wasn't giving comment until people started comparing the initiative to Nazi Germany. And suggestions by the Nassau County FEMA Community Emergency Response Team that these deputies would be used to suppress BLM protests. I mean, if you are looting and destroying and burning things, maybe? But then also you shouldn't be doing that, should you? Others have, of course, likened the new initiative to the Wild West because that's anti-gunners' favorite metaphor. County legislator Delia DeRiggy-Witten says that citizens have compared the initiative to the brown shirts and are scared that now regular people are part of law enforcement with no training, even though the ad also states that anyone signing up would have to complete additional firearms and basic police training. And I really wonder how many people are calling her up and saying, oh no, the brown shirts are coming. Vasu Krishnamurthy, which I might be saying wrong, president of the Manhasset Democratic Club, is one of the critics, and he claims that it is Blakeman's MO that is sowing division and fear-mongering, which is interesting coming from people saying that deputizing citizens would turn Long Island into Nazi Germany. Another woman who was born in Germany and lived in Iran during the revolution agrees with these comparisons and even went so far as to start a Change.org petition titled Stop Bruce Blakeman's Personal Nassau County Militia. She says that she has family that was in concentration camps during the Holocaust and that this is just like the Holocaust. If that's not enough, the petition is pretty telling. As Nassau County residents, we are deeply disturbed by County Executive Bruce Blakeman's proposed formation of a Nassau County militia. This proposed militia is unnecessary and dangerous, deputizing gun-owning private citizens for undefined situations that Blakeman deems as emergencies could result in vigilantism, friendly fire police deaths from untrained, uncoordinated squads, and pits neighbor against neighbor. As if these people aren't already doing that. Blakeman's militia formation process is highly problematic as well in that it has no transparency, accountability, nor public input. Admittedly, I stop listening anytime anyone says the word problematic. With over 27,000 gun permit holders in Nassau County, there are enormous unanswered questions pertaining to the selection process, the training of the deputy sheriffs, the weapons and other equipment they will be provided by the county, the size of the militia, which could conceivably outnumber Nassau police 11-1, and whether deputized militia sheriffs in our neighborhoods are to become a new permanent fixture. The petition, which has been signed by 700 people, demands that Blakeman cease and desist his militia and instead focus on natural resources and revitalizing their downtown. Critics even staged a protest on Monday. I haven't heard much about it, so it must not have been a big one. And it's funny because the biggest concerns are that this militia will be used against BLM or somehow LGBT people, yet comments on the petition keep harping on how New York has the best police force in the country and that only the police and National Guard should be allowed to have guns. They claim that these deputies will destroy democracy, which is ironic coming from a group of people trying to stop others from exercising their rights. They also haven't read anything about the situation, obviously, as they seem to think that the county will be providing these people with firearms and that they'll be patrolling the streets 24/7. It also turns out that there is a law on the books that allows the sheriff and Blakeman to do this, which is making people even madder. But critics say that the law only allows people to be paid $3 an hour rather than the $150 stipend the sheriff is offering should someone be called on, and so legislators are looking for a way to say that the initiative doesn't have the funding and is illegal. While the funding question is a valid one, I don't see these people actually being called on. Again, unless there's an emergency, which the $150 is probably the least of their worries. For what it's worth, Blakeman denies the brown shirt comparison, obviously, and has been very outspoken against that accusation, but has not denied that this effort is secretly a militia. So it would be my guess that yes, protecting people in case of emergency, when the police aren't there, as we are seeing in more and more areas across the country, or if the National Guard is used against the people, as some politicians have threatened, is probably the first intended purpose, but allowing citizens a backdoor method to protect their rights is probably also a close second. Alright gang, that is it for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you are new here, ring that notification bell. Drop me a comment down below about what you think. If you think that this really is like a militia to protect gun rights, or if you think it is in fact just a few deputies in case of emergency. I am curious if this is a tinfoil hat moment for me or not. And as always, thank you for tuning in and happy shooting.